her journey from stay-at-home mom to fully employed at a nonprofit. Hey, Sandra, how are you?
I am great this morning. How are you?
I am fantastic. So tell everybody, where do you work right now?
I work for Family Promise of Forsyth County here in Georgia, and I am the volunteer and engagement coordinator for their nonprofit, which focuses on immediate need and longer term stability with people facing homelessness in the community.
Wow. So you're really making a difference every single day in the work that you do.
I am. I am. I feel it. I see it and I feel it.
And what did you do before that? I mentioned it, but what did you do before that?
For the last 20 years, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was career focused for a long time, but had my first child and decided that that is where I wanted to put my energy. So I left corporate America and started staying at home and raising my three children. And over that span of 20 years, I spent a lot of time volunteering. So I would do anything that was involved in our community and school systems all throughout the last 20 years. And it's been very rewarding.
And let's tell everybody because this number is astounding. How many jobs did you apply to when you started working together?
Two.
And which two? Only two. And which job was this one? This was
Number one.
okay. And it took how many weeks? It was like nine,
Yeah, not even
something
eight
like that.
weeks.
9 weeks to
Yeah,
get this job, right?
yeah,
From 20 years as a stay-at-home mom.
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about the journey. Why did you decide that you wanted to go back to work? And what was it like when we worked together? And did you start looking for a job before we met?
Yeah. So I was, trying to update my resume. I think in my mind, I always thought that as my children were growing up and they were becoming more independent, I would change directions and go back to corporate America. And I was updating resumes and I was sending resumes out and I wasn't hearing anything. And, I was getting some rejections. And a friend of mine that I volunteer with recommended you. And I normally would not do something like this, but I was like bound and determined that this was going to help me. And I called you and it changed my life. It changed my world.
Well, thank you so much. And that friend of yours is also employed, and she and I are also doing an interview video coming up soon. She's a
Yeah.
transition teacher. So, what was it like when we worked together?
So, at first, I was nervous and I was not confident in myself. I felt like I was just a stay at home mom. I was just a volunteer. And who was going to hire me? Who was going to look at me? Like I didn't have anything to offer. I hadn't been in the workforce for 20 years. Why would somebody want me at this point? I'm too old for this. And you kind of kicked me in the in the butt and said, "Come on, girl, you can do this. You have so much to offer, and your talents from volunteering in all of these different job scenario situations over the last 20 years are beneficial, and you're going to be able to show people that you can do this through your experience of volunteering." And that's exactly what we started to do. We started to rebuild my resume and really hone in and focus on the attributes of what I had gained by doing a lot of different things that I didn't realize I had done. I kind of just it was just like, oh well, I did this because this is what, was what I needed to do at this stage of life. And when I started to look at my resume from a experience standpoint pre-volunteering, I was like, yeah, this is it, it's there. I've done this. I can do this. And you kept along the way saying to me, yes, you can do this. And when I would get down, you would bring me back up and say, you're going to get this. You're going to do this. So I just needed that push and that motivation and also that confidence building because I just lacked it. And it's not that my family wasn't, saying you got this, mom, or my husband saying you got done so many things, you're fine. It was just what is the job environment going to see in me. And the other thing that you did for me was at first I thought I was going to jump back into corporate America and do exactly what I was doing before. And you kind of explained to me how things had changed in the marketing world. And I've done sales. And you introduced me to nonprofit. And I realize that actually, I mean, I have volunteered in nonprofit for many years,
Yeah.
and I didn't even think about that when I was looking for jobs. It just wasn't even part of my focus. And then all of a sudden, it opened a whole new world to me. And I felt like, wow, this is something at this stage of life I want to do. I not only want to go to work every day and, be productive and do what I want to do, but I want to leave every day thinking, wow, I made a difference in somebody's life.
What a beautiful, amazing, amazing story, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just so perfect from being a stay-at-home mom and wondering, can I, who's going to hire me, to being in a place where you're making a difference. And for somebody
Yeah.
like you that spends so many hours a day and a week volunteering, how rewarding is it to have somebody recognize you, an organization recognize you for that value and for you to get paid for it?
I know. I know. In fact, I was asked that during the interview process, like, why do you want to get paid now? And I said, you know what? I said, I want to show my kids that at any stage of life, you can do this. And it's kind of nice to have my own money.
Isn't it?
Not that, I don't share with my family and my husband, but it's mine, and it helps at the stage of life that we're in with children transitioning to college and the extra costs that I feel like I'm contributing a little bit
It
more
feels
and I'm
good,
making a
right?
difference.
It
Yeah,
feels really
yeah,
good. And you had a brutal interview process, right? You interviewed with 10 people at the same time, which is
yes,
hard for people to handle. And you held your own. You did fantastically well.
yes, yes. It was a little intimidating when I walked in that room and knowing that their board of directors and some of their other people that are involved in the organization were going to be interviewing me, and they gave me some tough questions, but you helped to prepare me, and I was able to hold my own, and I just tried to answer it from an honest perspective. And I think that that's all you have to do in life, like I was very fair with them. I really focused on my qualities, what I am like as a person, and also what my experience has brought me to this point in my life.
And what is the job like for you now? And how do you have a new strength in being able to perform at this job?
Uh, I have learned the value of time management even more. I thought I was an expert in time management, being a mom of three very close in age children. But I have utilized a lot of your advice in time management, mostly with meal prepping and being organized. And I remember your video about talking about be ready the night before,
Oh,
and that like I get everything ready the night before. I mean, I laugh because I'm sitting, a little bit more during the day, but when I get home, I don't stop because I've had to change my schedule a little bit. So I used to go to a workout class at 9:30 in the morning.
which
So
is
I'm now
lovely. We
attending.
talked about that. That's a very stay-at-home mom time to get to work out.
That was my crew. That was a lot of my people were at that class, but now I'm going to the 5:30 a.m. class. So I get up at 5 o'clock. So there's not a lot of room in the morning to be disorganized.
You mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, off camera, you were talking about how I helped you to learn how to advocate for yourself at work, set boundaries. Like you were talking about how well you're doing in the first few weeks. Let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, this is a brand new role. So, when you have a brand new role, everybody's learning, right? So, the executive director is trying to figure out that I report to, my peers at work are trying to figure out where boundaries are. And I think I have gone in and really tried to advocate the where I will shine in the organization and where I can help them best. And that I see as growth in me, because I think when I was a younger Sandra out in the workforce, I probably wouldn't have had those boundaries. I probably just would have taken on more, whatever I have to do to show myself and show that I can do it. But I feel like at this stage of my life, there's a confidence in me that I'm like, I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I can do to help this organization the best. And I think they value that when they heard those conversations. And I think they see that now and they can figure out where this new role could possibly go. So it's I think it's a win-win for both.
So, what would you say was the most meaningful thing that you got out of us working together? What was the value?
Just, a somebody to just I could be brutally honest with you and tell you my fears because you can't always do that with, the ones that love you the most. Like, you're their mom. They see you as like the superstar no matter what, and you can do anything. But I was really lacking the confidence, and you built this new confidence in me that I could do this at this stage in my life. And just the task oriented skill sets that I learned, I didn't realize how important a cover letter was and building a good cover letter was. But that was something that you really focused on in your modules. And I took to heart, and I started really enjoying the process of building a cover letter. I didn't do a lot because I got a job very quickly,
So
but
it worked perfectly. Two
but
applications. That's it.
You really helped me realize how to showcase yourself, pull from your resume, um, cater your resume to the job opportunity, which I never did that before. I just had a blanket resume and would just shoot it on out there. And, but you really had me focus in on the job description. What are they looking for? And then putting that into selling myself as to, I can do that. I've done that. So that was a new process. That was something. And then the whole online job process was very different. Okay. So I mean, you were great to show me that. But just, even your time management suggestions, even your little nuances on, managing your family differently, or I always was a person that went out there and dressed up no matter what I did, but you really talked about the importance of representing yourself. And I go into a very, very casual office every day, like, but I'm always dressed up. They actually make fun of me. They're like, "What is she wearing today? It's all fancy." But I just really feel like when I am dressed professionally, I perform professionally. So that's just who I've always been. It's probably my upbringing in corporate America too.
Well, I am so happy. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy you're doing so well at your new job and that you have, you've really created the next chapter of your life,
Hmm. I
right?
really do feel that.
It didn't have to end because it's really hard for stay-at-home moms, especially at the time in life that you are right now, where kids are,
Yeah.
starting to go to college. And where are you? What is your
Yeah.
identity?
Yeah. You kept saying that to me. You're like, so your kids are going to college in 2 years. What are you going to be doing? And at 2 years from now, you could be saying to yourself, why didn't I do this sooner? Or why didn't I do that? So I really just feel like you gave me that incentive to, this is the time to do it, even though I was not sure it was the right time. But you really helped to guide me as to, this is what you need to be doing. This is important. And I know deep down in your heart, you want to do it.
I am so proud of you. Any final words of advice for any stay-at-home moms or those looking to make a pivot in their career?
It is never, ever too late at any stage. I just think we live in a world now that at any age, you can do what you want to do. There's no age limit on anything. So, you know, here I am 20 years later. I envisioned a different process in 20 years, but I realize now that what I'm doing is like the perfect fit for my life at this stage. And who knows what's going to happen in the next few years, but I am
Exactly.
so happy what I'm doing right now. And it's the perfect fit of where my life is right now.
Exactly. Well, I wish you continued success. I know that you're going to make milestones in your career and for the organization you work for. Thank you so much.
Thank you.